good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Shweta Bodgil, Senior Assistant Editor, The Economic Times, and I'll be your host for the day. So let me begin by thanking you all so much for joining us today for this exclusive roundtable discussion on the theme, Augmenting Customer Experiences Through Intelligent Automation, brought to you by ETHR World Middle East in association with Quality Kiosk. As we are already seeing from BFSI to manufacturing to FMCG to consumer tech, be it any sector, the end customer experience has become one of the greatest brand differentiators. And organizations that want to stay above the competition are realizing the importance of robust fraud control technology platforms and unified. This table will delve deeper into how intelligent automation can help organizations augment customer experiences and leverage it for differentiation. Today's session has been made possible by the support of our partner, Quality Kiosk Technologies, and I would like to thank their team for bringing in their expertise and helping us design this session. So before I take you through today's agenda, let me briefly introduce ETHR World Middle East and Quality Kiosk. ETHR World Middle East is the flagship digital platform for the HR vertical of the Economic Times, the second largest widely read business newspaper and digital media platform in the world. We are an integrated media brand that aims to unite the world of work community and enable their learning through insights, news, interviews, trends, research, white papers, curated events such as this one, and conferences, masterclasses, and workshops. So we bring together thought leaders, industry experts, decision makers, solution providers, and enthusiasts to initiate conversations around the innovations and latest trends impacting work, workplace, and workforce. Quality Kiosk is one of the largest independent quality assurance solution providers and a pioneer in digital performance engineering, helping numerous businesses achieve their digital transformation goals with agility. Founded in 2000, the company offers a diverse set of quality assurance solutions backed by IP-led and proprietary technologies, including QA automation, performance assurance, RPA, synthetic monitoring, site reliability engineering, digital testing as a service, and data analytics solutions for an array of industries and verticals. Featured in various industry-leading reports by prestigious global advisory firms like Forrester, Gartner, and the Everest Group, the company has a strong presence in 25 plus countries and a workforce of more than 3,000 employees, and is enabling some of the leading brands to scale their digital transformation with fail-proof quality assurance. To quickly run you through the agenda for the day, we'll begin today's session with a keynote session by Anand Rangan, who's EVP Sales and Business Head EMEA for Quality Kiosk, followed by the discussion on the topic, which will be moderated by Hemant Kalra, Delivery Head Intelligent Automation for Quality Kiosk. I think let's quickly begin with a round of introductions. I would request you to kind of introduce yourself with your name and one line about the company that you're working with. So Paramjeet, maybe we could start with you.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Paramjeet Arora. I work at Shadow's Bank, and I head the transformation function for the bank.
Thank you. Daya, would you want to go next?
Sure. I've been working with Emirates General Petroleum for the past 2 years. And previous to this, I used to work with KPMG and EY. And glad to meet all of you and look forward to see how we can contribute to the day.
Thank you. Errol, would you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, this is Errol Pereira. I work with Bank Muscat as head SME credit control and MIS and projects. I have been with the bank for the last 4 years now, and Bank Muscat is the largest bank in Oman, serving the SMEs and the corporates as a whole.
Thank you. Hani, would you want to go next?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hani Saif. I'm the CIO of a company called Extra. Extra is an electronics consumer retailer in Saudi, Oman, Bahrain, and we're going to Egypt as well. And we are the largest in consumer electronics retail in the region. Thank you for the invitation, and I hope that it will be very helpful for everyone.
Thank you. Ramesh, would you want to go next?
Hi, this is Ramesh. I'm working in Numashak and just leading the security operations. and the past near couple of years, and in GCC industry, and just I'm there in the past 15 years, specifically in the security industries.
Thank
Hope
you. Good to have you here. Anuj, would you want to go next?
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Anuj Goyal, and I worked with the Emirates NBD Group. Yesterday was my last day, so that's why I wrote X Emirates Islamic. And I'm joining FAB this week, later this week. I worked with the finance functions, IT functions in my previous organization. I'm looking forward for this session.
Thanks, Anuj. Gulam, would you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ghulam. Call me Moin as well. I'm working in QIIB as head of IT for past 20 years and looking forward for your session. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. As we have a very interesting theme to discuss, so without any further delay, let's get started with the session. And I welcome Anand Rangan, EVP Sales and Business Head, EMEA for Quality Kiosk. Anand is a senior business and technology leader with over 19 years of experience in sales and business development and applications, IT managed services, cloud services, and cybersecurity verticals. He has worked with some leading organizations such as HCL, Wipro, Oracle, and iGate, and has managed the US, Middle East, Africa, and India regions in various transformational and leadership roles. Over to you, Anand.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Shweta, for setting the platform. It's immense pleasure to meet every one of you on this platform. So just a quick introduction. Yeah, my name is Anand Rangan. I head the business for Quality Kiosk for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, based out of Dubai. So a quick snapshot of Quality Kiosk, who we are and what we do. Of course, Shweta, you filled it in, but just to emphasize on that, we are more than 2-decade-old organization, and we specialize in very few things. Today's world is changing so drastically, but we still specialize in one of those areas, or rather 3 of those areas, which is instrumental towards digital transformation: quality assurance, automation, business automation, customer experience, and advanced analytics. These are the only 4 things that we do for a living. And of course, never said that, we specialize in that 80 to 90% of the banks in the Middle East we've been working with. And 3 out of the 4 mergers and acquisitions in the region, we've been instrumental either in their as part of their advisory services or merger and acquisitions, or being their UAT partners. I never said that. Also, the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Finance, Ethereum project, we were the UAT partners for them. That's one of the prestigious projects that QK has been involved in the region. With that said, yes, we've also transformed a lot of banks, especially in the automation space or into a digital transformation space or the customer experience. And look forward for the session. I'm sure there should be some learnings at the end of the day, more than business for all of us. And with that said, let's open the session, Shweta. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you for joining us and getting the ball rolling. I think we'll move on to the discussion portion now, and I would now like to invite Hemant Kalra, who's the Delivery Head, Intelligent Automation at Quality Kiosk. He's an automation veteran, having over 18 years of experience in spearheading numerous intelligent automation, COE setups, RPA, cognitive automation, process excellence, lean thinking, BPM, and optimization programs. Hemant has been a driving force for delivering innovative automation solutions to QK clients, and he has enabled numerous businesses to streamline their process efficiencies with his team. He has held key leadership positions at global conglomerates such as Fidelity, Ericsson, and Axis Bank. Over to you, Hemant.
Thank you, Shweta. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I've been lucky enough to work for some esteemed organizations like Fidelity, Ericsson, and of course, Axis Bank was one of the experience that I'm proud of, and that's where my connection to customer experience will bring in some value that we could try to add. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining in today. Looking forward for having an open discussion and experience sharing from all of you. we would be definitely talking about the agendas around how customer experience is something that is now getting associated to intelligent automation or those platforms and solutions that have been available since, especially over last 10, 12 years. So I mean, before we get into the questions or an open discussion, I'm sure we all echo with the fact that automation is not something that is new to corporates and businesses. It's been there originally being talked about very tactical and looking at task level. While it has evolved to become an operational efficiency program for throughout the organizations, especially when the intelligence comes to it with the AI, ML, and special tools, it allows us to actually now look at bringing some delight at the customer end. So to begin with, I mean, I would be wanting, I would request everybody for an open discussion about why these intelligent automation platforms, or I should say the solutions, are now need of the hour, especially to drive customer experience across the business. I would like to request everybody in the panel here to give their views. So maybe I can start. The question is that why do you think intelligent automation now becomes a crucial factor or a solution that allows you to drive customer experience and delight to the customer? The fact that we are now, like Shweta began the conversation, that customer delight or customer experience now is the key to a success story for any business line. And with these cognitive features that allows you to think smarter and intelligent, there are opportunities for us where we could easily simplify certain items, certain solutions that allows us to optimize the touch points that the customer has. So maybe to anybody in the group would like to add anything on those lines, where why is this now the need of the hour across anywhere where you want to talk about customer experience?
Maybe I'll start, Hemant. So customer experience and investment in customer experience has been a very interesting topic for many of the industry veterans. But what I would feel is that it still is a vast subject and depends on the sector and the line of business. The value proposition, a customer experience, or the ease of transaction or ease of engaging into a business differs. In some of the cases, the customer is not too very interested about the experience. He just wants the product at a very attractive price, and it's a one-time experience for him. And in most of the cases, we somehow, it's my personal opinion, is that industry misunderstands what the customer experience and what it can contribute to the bottom line and bring to the business. On the other hand, intelligent automation has really helped many of the industries, including us. We are exploring quite a few things to make a difference. That is to improve the efficiency, reduce the cost to the customer, and at the same time bring in an attractive value proposition. So most of the time, what we think does not really translate. And one of the challenges which we always ask is, what is the residual value that is being passed on to the customer of the investment that we are trying to do? The assumptions, the TCOs that is being calculated while a project is being initiated or investment is being planned is quite huge, but the quintessential question is how much is being translated to the customer and how much does the customer realize that something has been passed on to him, or in many of the cases as we speak, customer thinks it is a normal norm or it is the expected. rather than something which creates a wow factor. So that's my perspective. Again, I'm looking forward to hear from other colleagues here and industry veterans.
Yeah, no, there you're right. Yeah, so you're right there. The fact that the expectation of the customer is the new normal is going first time right, and the fact the time that he or she has to spend on any touch point or any transaction that is being performed by the organization is a very a basic expectation. While when you have to make that solution, there is a complex process and systems that are involved. But yeah, you're right. The need definitely is around that. So yeah, anybody else on this question, why this becomes an important point right now?
See, this is Errol Pereira here.
Right. Yeah.
So I might have a little different take. So customer service, as we look at it, probably is not necessarily, can be always be digitized or cannot be volatilized in the true sense. Customer service for us, probably the banking industry is not probably, it's more on the entire experience that we give to the clients. So over the last few years, this has really changed for the banking industry. So where earlier probably it was more to do, with the look and feel of the branches and things like that, it no longer, is limited to that. So today, if I'm looking at customer service, I need to understand that one is how is he received with at the through various banking channels, how he is being managed, and how he or she is getting an overall feel for the request that has been raised. Now, a lot of times what happens is for a bank or for somebody who is giving a service in that sense, probably if you're looking at a restaurant also, or if you're looking at even the health facilities, at the end of the day, you might not be able to monetize a customer service or a customer experience right at the beginning. It would probably be some kind of an investment and time given by you on this. And once the customer has really enjoyed the experience of dealing with you, they might tend to come back to you time and again on this. So if you're looking at a restaurant, if I walk into a restaurant and although it might be a fancy restaurant available probably in town, but at the end of the day, the food is not good. The experience, the person serving me is not, approachable, or probably is not taking care of my needs at that point in time. I might not go visiting the restaurant again. So what happens? I mean, at the end of the day, it's linked to the monetary loss that they're going to have by me not repeating or coming back to the restaurant. If I'm looking at banking, probably the client might request for something, and if the overall experience is not good, there are other competitors available where they can easily switch on to, who gives them a better feeling or a better approach to them. So for me, probably customer service might not be tangible in the initial stages, but of course, once the feeling of the customer gets is of a superior quality, he might keep coming again and again. And when that happens, is automatically I monetize this.
No, I think you're right, Errol. The fact that one of the Gartner reports in 2018 did talk about the retention of the customer who's come or visited you for the first time, and then is there a revisit? And was that because of being a delightful experience, or was that because he could get something unique out here? So with that, I think I mean this leads us to logically, if it is, while we all agree it is an agreement that there is a need of it, and how this will be affecting or impacting the organization. Maybe the next is our opinion poll that we will be coming to your screen, where if you think your organization has the CX automation customer experience automations being deployed today.
Can you elaborate a bit when you say customer experience automation?
So that if you would talk about solutions which are directly or indirectly impacting the experience that the customer would have in that transaction, are there places where you are try to reduce the touch points of the customer using automation, or where you have used the intelligence to understand the sentiment or the purpose of customer's visit or transaction that he is making right now?
Clear. By the way, I've been earlier a customer of Bank Muscat and as well as Extra, so kudos to some of the good things I've seen. Hani and Errol, good work on your organizations.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you there. Thank you. So, like we all agree, the Delight is required, and Delight is right now asking automation to be one way of simplifying it. This leads to another question that I would want to open for the forum, and would love to hear your opinion on this. The key considerations that we should be choosing when we are choosing any intelligent automation platform, or I would say solution for your process or your business. What are those key factors that we should be focusing on before we select something that will make long-term or short-term sense for that, especially when it comes around customer experience?
Yes, just I can take it out over there in this one. Mainly the document process, it is one of the key element over there. So because mainly in the payment industry or the bank industry, when any customer wants to have a process, there is a lot of manual process which was earlier, which has been taken long time, and the process was it doesn't give even that the good confidence to the users, the customers too, because banking in a retail perspective, if you're the customer, there is an end users, and those are also customers as well as the partners, whoever wants to have an in example of that, there are where the giant of the retail happening in GCC industry like a Carrefour or Lulu. So those also have a good amount of document process which needs to happen. So now the system has been turned. There are the multiple system has been implemented, which is to be onboarding the process to simplify that customer. So which is giving a better experience to the customer. So as well as that gives completely the turnaround time to the onboarding. The process is being simplified and the quicker. So due to that, what's happening that the customer is it is literally happy, as well as the customers give more. It is given a chance to give more business to the organization too. So these are one of the key areas in terms of the document process, and each and every settlement also has been integrated with an RPA, so that the customer, the retail, the payment industries, right? So those will be in a settlement perspective. The settlement also it's happening in an automated way. So where the customer, it's no need to be liaise on emails, on the phones, and other process and touch points, as you said. Okay, that has been simplified and reduced, which has been improved the customer experience, that given more business to the organization too. That is one of the key areas to be improved.
Correct, Ramesh. In fact, image processing is nothing, not very new to this. As a solution, has been there for years now. But now, considering that it is the paper that is being sent by the customer is his document, and how you treat with it is also something that the customer understands and appreciates, especially when certain documents which are old enough and with my experience, we've seen you cannot expect the customer to correct it. In fact, one of my own experiences, Ramesh, at Axis Bank, where our MD was asking us a very basic question when we solved and simplified first-time right solution in image processing. He said, have you not ended up creating a problem for the customer to scan it right? You should have looked at solutions which are smarter to manage the poor image rather than stopping it at the first time. So yeah, anybody else? So the key considerations while you would select any intelligent automation solution, especially when it comes to customer journeys, open for rest of us to contribute. Yeah.
I just need to say something. It's before how we are working in Extra to just participate. For anything, when we select an automation solution for any process that will affect the customer, actually we have process we are going for before we select something that will affect the customer experience. First of all, the intelligent process, your previous discussion, everyone's answer about it, but we cannot proceed anyway without any intelligent process automation now at all, because of the data volume that we have and the digital channels that we have. So it's going without saying. We should do that, and this is what drives the customer experience, the good customer experience. Without it, you will miss for sure a lot portion of customers that will go for another channels who can understand them much better in their behavior and in their needs in the future. And this cannot be done with this volume without automation and without intelligent automation, artificial intelligence. So the RPA, for example, for us, it's not the artificial intelligence that we in our mean. So it's a good automation. It's just save some time for the people, and this people time will be used to do some real innovation, which will drive to the artificial intelligence that we will tell the machine what to do. So we need the time from this people by doing the automation first. So for example, we are using something in the customer experience communication. So we have artificial intelligence that will work on the and a lot of models and algorithms that we built with some partners that we understand how we can communicate with this customer based on his behavior, based on his history, based on his purchase, and we can predict what he really looking for. So we can send him a personalized communication that related to him. So all the customer now experience is about personalization. So if you cannot do personalization for the customer, you are out of the customer experience. You cannot, there is no one size fits all like before. It's not anymore. The customer needs you to talk to him in his language and his needs only. So we cannot send the communication for a lady, for example, household, for a mobile iPhone 13, while she is really all their heads about taking care of her kids and her kitchen and the home appliances in her house. So it's not relevant. So you are just wasting money and wasting communication. So we have the customer journey process in the beginning, and we see where is the interaction point with the customers, and then we'll say, okay, this has a lot of amount of data that we need it to be an intelligent and we need data to be automated. Then we will focus on this area in this touch point with the customer in this journey phase, not the whole. And then we are moving on. So this is how we are working in Extra. I'm just say it may be helpful. Thank you.
So you brought a very good point, Ani. The fact that when it comes to basic process automation, you look at volumes or you look at the complexity and the touch and the processing returns on the cost that you will spend on it. But you're right. When it comes to customer experience, you're talking about various touch points that he will be actually interacting with us. Are they simplified enough? And if they aren't, is there an opportunity which could be intelligent or basic automation that adds the value there? And I think that's the concentration that allows you to select platforms. Errol, anything from your view in terms of that?
See, my 2 cents on artificial intelligence is that it is absolutely relevant to the banking industry. So, if you look at it, there are two aspects to it. One is I digitize and automate certain activities, but then at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is what is the absolute requirement, because I might crunch the processing time. Say if somebody comes in and wants to apply for a loan, and the way of the earlier way of doing it was probably go to the branch and apply, go to the relationship manager, apply, and then there was a way of where it would be routed through a lot of human interventions. Nowadays, if you look at it, artificial intelligence is absolutely to play out here now, and sometimes you don't even need to come to the branch. You just go online, you apply for a loan, you do you do your loan application, it hits your CIBIL, it hits your various credit bureaus and things like that, and by the end of the entire process, probably in another 10-15 minutes, you would have your entire loan sanctioned, and probably what remains is only the disbursement. So it is today artificial intelligence and the learnings that are there because of the data available. So the data can be the feeder for the artificial intelligence. So you collect the data, the artificial intelligence uses this data to give you quicker and faster results, and that to personalized results. So banking has been revolutionized, and this is what is happening across the world, and it is really making a lot of difference. So having a good AI platform which can read this data and interpret it in the correct manner, and throw up the right decisions without probably having or without having limited human intervention, is what everybody is looking for today, because that really is the game changer. So the banking industry and the service industry is purely dependent on how quickly you can turn around things, and not probably waste a lot of time on one customer, because the more customers I bag is the more revenue I earn, and that has to help. The data has to help me, help my intelligent platform to move accordingly. So, these are my 2 cents about the use of AI.
I think that's absolutely what everybody else should resonate to. So maybe Anuj, while you're switching jobs, but I'm sure this is something you would have also considered. So anything that you considered in your existing organization or the new one where you would see before you choose, especially I'm talking about intelligent solutions when it is coming to customer journey, and considering the fact that it will be impacting the experience the customer has. So Anuj, maybe you.
So if I talk about Emirates NBD journey over a period of time, so a lot of work has been done in the last few years. We have gone through a complete transformation journey in the last 4 years. There are a lot of processes which have been automated. Some directly impacting the customer front end processes, some impacting the back end processes, and ultimately impacting the turnaround time to reach out to customers in terms of solving their issues, in terms of issuing new products, be it the credit cards or be it account opening, so things like that. So work has been done, but my question, especially from the finance side, is always, someone mentioned about the TCO and the payback, that how much benefit is being passed on to the customer. And it always, these questions always perplex and not easy to answer, and especially in today's era, wherein the processes are changing, the compliance ambit is changing. There are a lot of compliances requirements which come in, and which may disrupt or impact your existing processes. And at times, what I have experienced is that, once you set up these processes, once you automate these processes, making any changes or accommodating any further changes is a very, very, time consuming and expensive, proposition.
Correct.
Yeah, and as you rightly said, and at the beginning of the presentation as well, it was mentioned that it's an orchestration of the multiple technologies, working together in a seamless manner. But when you have multiple touch points, the more is the complexity when you want to make any changes. I don't know. In your experience, how do you take care of it? I would love to see some use cases, on which you would have worked earlier, or on which you are working, and especially in the financial industry.
Yeah. I mean, while obviously agreeing to what you just said, especially when it comes to customizing, once you've done the solution, and when it comes to redoing or adding or fixing what was expected out of it, does become a challenge. And I think that's where organizations like ours, with various use cases that have been implemented, bring the experience and consulting services that allow us to select the right opportunity. And I think Anuj, the only thing that I would want to add to everybody else who just said, the key consideration does include if the opportunities are really going to make that impact. And I think I think Daya said that, is it really going to impact what we are expecting it to? And if it is worth that effort and money, and that's the only piece where I think my experience of intelligent automation is selecting the right opportunities, a better or a more important activity than selecting what you would do or solve it with, because we all have seen the evolution. Intelligent automation, or artificial intelligence for that matter of fact, is still not very clear or static, or what's progressing towards it. So yeah, that's what for me is something important. So leading that to the next question. So any implemented pilots at your business already? And I think most of you would have already have already agreed and shared that you already have it in place. But yes, if you've already implemented these pilots, especially comes to intelligent automation. Yeah. Okay. So when you've considered choosing or what is going to be your platform, I think with 80% of us now saying that we've already implemented, I think, which means that my next question that is definitely going to add a lot of value from all of you is the various challenges that are often faced when you're building these solutions, or once you've implemented. And I think I would want to bring one important fact here is that if we are working on an ROI mindset, especially when it comes to customer journey, is that the right challenge, or do we make it ourselves as a challenge? Because are we looking at ROI, or we're looking at better customer experiences, something at various times questions, especially when these things take long enough. So maybe this time we start with you, Ghulam. Anything that you think are certain special challenges that your organization might have faced in the past while you're implementing automation, especially the intelligent automation solutions?
See, for us, yes, it was a bit challenging, and from a customer experience perspective and from the implementation perspective. Last year, what we have done, we have implemented an mobile finance solution. It was a more challenging, where you have to make sure you are giving a right choice to the customer in terms of you are calculating his perfectly the DBR. You are not making any financial implications inside your organization. So yes, and then finally when we implemented, it is well what I can call it, yeah, it is well welcomed from the customers, and it is, yeah, it's one of the best product that we call it for ourselves now from an automation perspective. On addition to that, we have many business processes that were managing internally as a manual processes, and we have implemented the automation tools in the bank, and that has reduced a lot of work from our operating sectors. It took a challenge from everyone in the financial industry. You know it, how difficult it is to take an approval from the financial perspective as well. But yes,
Correct.
overall, I can consider it, I can say it was a wonderful experience for all of us.
Correct. And would anybody agree? I am bringing my experience here is that I think scalability does become a challenge when you try to address a particular customer experience problem, because it was so it was a customized solution. When it comes to scaling it, do you think that is a challenge? And maybe is there a better way when you're doing these kind of implementations? Again, open for everybody to contribute.
See, customization, from just my comment from on this point, customization is not a good solution. I don't recommend from my side. Yes, you do a customization up to a certain extent only, but the way you go away from your standards, then yes, you are facing more challenges when you do any kind of upgrade or any kind of replacement of the solution.
Correct.
Yeah, and I agree with that point, that more you customize, more difficult it becomes at a later point in time whenever you want to upgrade to a new version, or you want to make any changes later on. And even the maintenance becomes very high in case of customized, the more you customize.
Yeah. Ani, Daya, anybody else?
Yeah, nothing to add, actually. I agree. You have to have a ready-made solution that's having some people focus only on developing this and make sure that architecturally it's scalable. Because in previously in IT, there was a lot of things not in the market, and you cannot find it as ready-made. It's not like today. 20 years before, it's not like today at all. 10 years back, also, it's not like today. We didn't have our RPA like what we have today. We don't have artificial intelligence model ready-made like what we have today. So this is a plug and play now. So I think all the business now, the problem in the business that there's too many solutions actually, and too many architecture in the market. The wise and the maturity now, how to select and to architect your enterprise correctly to be scalable and sustain your business, and for sure meet the growth potential that every organization is looking for. So yes, I agree with what my colleagues and the participants did.
Yeah, thank you, Ani. I see, Paramjit, you joined back. Was there something you were saying earlier? I think we had a poor connection.
All I was saying is that it's utopian to expect that customer will do everything. I know there are digital banks, but as long as banks like us exist, we always have to factor the fact that a customer will walk in, like I think Mr. Errol was saying. Customer experience will play a very, very, very big part. And it has to be some kind of an assisted automation where we help the staff in the branches to do their work more meaningfully and with more value, rather than being tied down with mundane tasks.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. So I think that brings us. So thank you, guys, and we should move to our. This is only to share some stories of success stories where we've implemented intelligent automation, contributing to customer journeys, complex items where certain transactions were were taking a longer time because of the SMEs and knowledge expertise, where we had to combine RPA with certain analytics around it that allowed the SME knowledge to be transferred to basic rules, and those automations had been success for us. Moving on to the next opinion poll from your, like we were already sharing our challenges. according to you, which one of these would be the top barrier when it comes to scaling intelligent automation? Like I said, of course, one is too much of customization breaks it. But according to you, at your organization, which one of these is the top one, please? Okay, considering the time, I would definitely want to ask my next, or maybe it's in fact the last question here. Now that we know the importance, we know the challenges, we of course know the considerations and factors you must look at. So as an organization leader, and I really would love to hear from all of you, is where do you see this journey? Where is customer experience journey going to be in future? Especially with using intelligent automation and artificial intelligence becoming real out there, how do you see this journey for customer becoming simple, or I don't know, will it be complex? I don't know. Open for all.
See, if you ask me, customer journey, customer experience was the key, is the key, and will always be the key. And going forward, customer experience is going to be something which is going to be focused by everybody. And in a large bank like ours, things might not be so quickly adaptable, but eventually, things have to change, and things will change. So, looking at the fact that, artificial intelligence is here to stay, and without which we really will not be able to, meet our customer requirements on the shortest possible time. Artificial intelligence is going to play a big role, and that's going to be effectively, ensuring that I achieve my customer experience goals. And things are changing within this industry, where you have specific teams setting up, checking whether customer experience is being achieved, and this is only going to be possible if the data is collected, it is mined, and it is used accordingly for through the artificial intelligence to serve your customers. I don't see there's any other way of doing this any longer.
Yeah, you're right, Errol. Especially when data gets better and better managed, I'm sure more intelligent decisions the solutions the bots can make. You're right. The evolution is the first sign that it is not going to stop, and it hasn't in the last few years. So we'll be considering this will be very close to our time, but making sure that we give the opportunity for all of us. So Daya, Hani.
I was just adding up to the conversation. See, one of the challenges at my level as a head of IT, I see, is the extent of visibility that we have in the business processes and as well as the end-to-end processes to make a difference to the customer. In my experience, what I see is often we come across a situation of heat zones. When I speak to heat zones, what I meant is a specific area of our organization is highly advanced or probably is in a different state of tune as compared to certain other processes. And this effectively doesn't help a good image to the customer, because when a certain amount of processes are very highly advanced and the expectation is different. So when he counters back with respect to another process, it completely disorients the customer. To give you a practical example, in our petrol stations, if you're a fleet customer, you probably don't even have to interact or do anything. your complete transaction is using RFID is automated, right? So you come here on with your car, you fill your petrol, you just leave. You don't even have to exchange a card, you don't have to do anything, etc. But at the same time, the process of reporting a lost and stolen is completely manual in process, right? And I'm taking my own example so that I can be confident. Another example I've seen with respect to banks is that this is with respect to my experience in the Middle East, and specifically in Oman before I moved to Bank Muscat. Onboarding onto a bank was completely easy, but exiting with the bank was absolute difficult, right? So there's a stark difference with respect to that experience. There have been instances where, don't take it as any criticism, but it's a practical experience. So when I had to exit Oman, my deposits were held back for 2 months, citing that a complete cycle of the transactions need to be held in place and so on. So, but practically we are speaking at IT level, millisecond based transactions, which we are speaking about. And the answer that was given was, we need to wait so that no transactions reflect back into your bank account. So you often find heat maps, and people responsible are the management and the customers look up to the IT department or us to front end this. But the challenge we have sitting in our positions is that the end-to-end visibility is quite difficult to achieve, and sometimes we end up creating heat maps or heat zones, wherein certain part is very advanced and certain part is very lacking behind, and we may overlook. Or sometimes even when you implement certain systems, we fail to educate the complete line of business as to what it means and what changes at them. So it can be attributed to change impact analysis, but that remains as a quintessential problem, because artificial intelligence or even whatever we can actually look up in the industry to bring it up, but unless you are doing it up from scratch, if you're building an organization from scratch, that offers a different set of challenges. And if you're actually improving or making a difference to an existing organization or a traditional organization, that has its own challenges with respect to what I said. So that's my contribution to this specific agenda.
Thank you there. I know we are running short of time. Hani, you had something to add here.
Yes. I need to say something. First of all, I need to thank Dipran for his involvement. I like what he said. I agree with all of it. He touched a good point about the readiness of the business and how it's really hard to make this written and the tune across. But answering your question about where we are heading in the artificial intelligence and automation, and I'm telling you, there is no escape. Artificial intelligence, it's coming, it's there. It's the only thing and the biggest thing that it will happen in our lifetime. Move on from now on, nothing else. Artificial intelligence is the future for everyone, is the focus for every company. It's coming really fast. So I think if we are talking here about make the companies ready for the artificial intelligence and automation, all the IT people and responsible for the IT and the people responsible for digital transformation or business transformation, they have to focus on this only. Yesterday, just an example. For the fitness and the gym, I saw yesterday one friend of mine, and he showed me one device that you don't need to go to gym anymore, and you have your device that you can install it at your house, at your home, and you can do all the exercise they can imagine by yourself, and the machine will know you from first hour, everything, your weight, your muscle strength, what actually you need to do, which exercise is fit for you, and it will progress with you without any trainer, without anyone, you and the machine, that's it. And it will do everything that you are. Imagine, even the risk, even if you can do, for example, for the people who's knowing, if you are doing some bar on the bench bar and you cannot really lift it and you are alone, it's risky. The machine will really realize this and will take the weight from you. So it's safety as well. You imagine with this small example about artificial intelligence and automation that we're talking about. Take this and scale it for every process and everything we do. In science, in medical, in making the operation inside the surgeries. The doctors, even after 10 years, they will not have a real surgeon job. The machine will do it. The machine will do it. So this is the future. If you are saying where we are headed, we are heading to full automation. This is my
thank you, Hani. I think that was a really value adding, and obviously, Shweta, I've already overrun the discussion, so I would rather give it back, mic back to you, and towards thank you and closures. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Hemant. Thank you so much for moderating the discussion. I think we had a very insightful discussion. And as a small gesture from the QK team, we have mementos for our participants. I would request the QK team to kind of share the mementos on the screen so that we can virtually present them, and they'll be sent to you physically as well. So the first one, this one we have for Anuj. So Anuj, this is your memento. Thanks for joining us. Next we have for Errol. Thank you again, Errol, for joining us and taking our time.
Thank you very much.
Moving, this one we have for Ghulam again. Thank you, Ghulam, for joining us in the discussion here. Next we have for Hassan, for Kamel. I think this is for Paramjeet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next we have for Ramesh. Thanks, Ramesh. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. Saeed, this one's for Saeed. Again, if he's there, thanks for joining us. Hani, this one's for you. Thank you again for joining us and sharing your insights with us. Again, for Amir, thanks for joining us. Tariq, I think Tariq was there, but he had to drop off early. He dropped a message. So again, we'll be sending him the memento personally. Yeah, this one's for Anand for joining us and leading the discussion, and Hemant again for moderating the discussion. Thanks. So I think we are almost about to wrap up this session. Which kind of brings us to the end of it. But before we wrap up, I would like to thank our partner Quality Kiosk for their constant support in making this session possible, and especially Anand Rangan and Hemant Kalra for joining us today. Anand, I would request you to share a few closing words, for the session. Yeah.
Thanks, Shweta. Thanks, Hemant, and thanks, ladies and gentlemen. It was very enlightening to have some of the discussion that we've had this today. It also gives us an opportunity, not just connect us just as a partner in bringing these services, but also some of the thoughts and views that came in from the audience gives also how can we bring in some of the futuristic ways of bringing some of these solutions. So yeah, look forward to working with some of you, or rather each of you here. And so Quality Kiosk, as I said, we work in a very niche space in transforming an organization, especially in the automation or the digital journey that any company wants to adapt. So it gives us a lot of opportunities on the table and a lot of areas where we can expel ourselves. So look forward to working with each of you, and thanks a lot, ET, for putting this session. It was wonderful, Shweta. Thanks a lot, and look forward for some more of these sessions in the future.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks from our team as well. And thank you once again to Quality Kiosk and Hemant for moderating this session. Lastly, I would just request the participants to fill this short survey form for your quick feedback on the session, which will kind of help us, to kind of streamline the next sessions that we'll host. The survey form will also be sent to you in your email. So please do not miss out on filling this form. Once again, thank you for your valuable time, and see you soon with another exciting session.